everyone. Welcome to Fight Net Radio. Lee Honish, Andrew Labuschagne, Miguel Antonio Bettagon. We bring you the wonderful world of boxing each and every week. Go to boxingtonight.io. That's boxingtonight.io. That is the home of Fight Net Radio. It is also home to the most unique news feed in boxing. If you'd like to find out what local news feeds are talking about boxing, we've got it for you. If you'd like to find out more about the show, or you're just listening to this as a broadcast on multiple platforms, you can go there, hook up, find us on social media, follow him at Fight Fiend Miggs, follow me at Lee Honish, and follow him at Andrew Labuschagne. There you go, you're all caught up, and of course, we are the largest Facebook boxing provider of content, I guess, is how you describe it, but we are the most active on Facebook in regards to boxing, and we're proud of that. That's kind of the thing we've decided that we were going to make our niche. So follow us on Facebook at fight.net.radio, or just go to boxingtonight.io. Scroll down on the page. There's a big old giant Facebook logo. Click on it. There you go. We start off each and every week by checking in. Last week we didn't do a check-in. We actually did a recap of the Canelo-Alvarez fight. And this week I'm taking it over because I watched Rocky IV, the Ultimate Extended Director's Cut yesterday, which was in the theaters for one day about 3 months ago, and Stallone has recently re-released this on streaming platforms. I personally cannot recommend this movie enough because the movie finally makes effing sense. For those of you who saw the original, basically it starts off with that crazy birthday sequence with happy birthday, like that whole thing where he's walking out of the gym with the black guy and then the birthday, and like it just sort of goes to the whole thing. This one starts off with Rocky III again and the fight and a little bit of the montage of the training, and then the two of them having a conversation after the fight. Much different start to the movie. So the sections between sort of the iconic scenes, right? His brother's song "No Easy Way Out," the training montages, all that stuff. An extended between he and Apollo trying to explain the fight. Then a behind the scenes of why he wasn't actually allowed to fight the Russian, where he actually sat at a table with boxing emissaries, like trying to negotiate this as a title fight, which was interesting. And then more interestingly, a really long extended scene where the "you can't win" sequence before he goes out, but all the other iconic stuff. And then even better, they actually did the Apollo fight and Apollo death in real time. The first round is a full 3 minutes. It's not like a jump cut. Yeah, that was crazy to me. Like, they had extra footage. It actually is a longer play out, and the final fight itself is a much longer fight in this. So I recommend it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I think Stallone kind of hit his stride by sort of recutting it. And there's your update. Go watch the movie. Yes, but nothing has really changed. And there's a couple more classic. He even somehow, I don't know if he did it as a voiceover, but he managed to get more of those "quitters don't get up" kind, another one of those classic, you keep moving forward. He has a scene with his son where he talks about, "Yeah, sometimes I'm scared." Right? Originally that scene is like 2 seconds where he just talks to him and he leaves. It's extended where he's, "No, sometimes I'm scared. Half of me is scared." Like, it's a classic sort of Stallone life lesson as Rocky kind of thing. So I recommend it. Go see it. Good time. I enjoyed it. It's still only 90 minutes. I don't know how he pulled that off. He just cut out all the other crap and stuck new crap in. And all the iconic shit is there. So good time. There's your recommendation. Go find it or download it at the Pirate Bay. With that said, we do talk about boxing on this show. My boys are experts. They are reporters. They actually care about the sport. I am the clown fool, and I'm okay with that. So let's jump right in with the stories this week. Eddie Hearn says Canelo Golovkin 3 is bigger now after the Canelo loss. Well, Canelo needs another fight, so I'll jump right into this and start with you, Miguel. Is Canelo Golovkin 3 even bigger now, or does anybody actually care?
Well, shit, neither, I don't think. I mean, I think, well, I guess to some degree. So, Canelo's going to have his haters, right? He's going to always have those, and they're always going to, and of course, we saw them come out of the woodwork like motherfucker when after he lost to Bivol. It's one of those, oh, I told you so kind of deal, like he wasn't shit kind of deal, like I told you this guy wasn't anything. One of those, right? Of course, they weren't saying that prior to the fight. It's only afterwards. But so he's going to have those, and there are still people to this day who think he lost both those fights with Triple G. I'll give him that first one. Maybe he did that first one, but definitely not the second one. He fought two different fights, and Triple G couldn't do jack shit in either one of them. So I certainly don't think Triple G deserved to win any one of those. But I'm fine with the draw on the first one and Canelo winning on the second one. But I know there's going to be people who to this day are still going to think that Golovkin has chance now, even still. They're going to think that he won those first two fights and still want a third. So there's going to be some sort of interest in the third, albeit probably not from us. But the loss certainly hinders it to some degree. I'm talking about Canelo, because if he's still win, and so is Triple G. I mean, that's kind of it. Their only recent losses, or I guess Triple G's, was to Canelo, right? So had Canelo continued winning, it probably would have been something if Canelo kept winning. But at this point, I mean, now that he's lost, I think to some degree, I don't even think Canelo's interested anymore, right? This loss to Bivol maybe refocused him for whatever the fuck reason. I'm thinking maybe like he's into the 175-pound division. He's thinking about the rematch with Bivol or something along those lines. So I mean, I feel bad for Golovkin, I really do, because this third fight with Canelo was sort of the carrot on the stick that Hearn and DAZN had for him to sign with him to begin with, and he's been kind of left out in the cold this entire time. But I mean, really, I don't think there's too much. I don't think there should be too much interest in the third one, because really it's a no-win for Canelo. He beats an old man. They're gonna say, oh fuck, he waited until he got old. He beat an old man anyway. And if he loses, like, oh shit, he lost to an old man. So I don't think there's really a win. It's a lose-lose for Canelo. Personally, I don't have much interest in the third one, no.
The master of this show, the guy who writes all of my really racist, dirty material, Andrew Labouche. How do you feel about Golovkin, Canelo 3 being bigger?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with Miguel here. It is not bigger. The fight's no bigger today than it was before the Bivol fight. When you look at the pay-per-view numbers, either Canelo's star power is fading a little, or the fact that he fought Bivol is hurting his numbers, but they were down significantly. Rayfield reporting like 500,000 is what they got here in America for the Bivol fight. So that's not a superstar really at all when you think about it. So I don't see Golovkin helping those numbers at all. If anything, the return of the GOAT happened last night. Come on, you guys.
We're going to talk about it.
A little teaser.
Actually, there's a theme to today's show, which is even funnier, that I didn't see until I saw the news stories. Like, I was going to...
Look, but wait. Go ahead.
No, it's okay, because it ties into what you're talking about. Like, the Floyd Mayweather sweepstakes is insane. Okay, clearly Floyd's out of money. Okay, we'll talk about his fight later on. Clearly Floyd's out of money, but I'm telling you, I've got racked up stories about everybody who thinks that they've been approached. I had to cut them down. In fact, I only cut it down to one story because it's the most outrageous. But apparently, everybody kind of who's a bubble, easily taken out kind of boxing contender has been approached by Mayweather's team for a fight, or at least have a discussion about a fight. I only left one because it's the most outrageous one of the pile. But apparently, the GOAT needs cash. And he even said after this fight that he will fight again in 3 months, again in the UAE against another surprise opponent. But I hear you. I mean, I don't know why there wouldn't be a Canelo Mayweather 2 at this point.
Hey, the question for Floyd is, after that loss to Bivol, where he's seen a lot of the same frustrations that he was giving Canelo in their fight. Does he think he can do it again this many years later? Right? That's really how much confidence did Floyd get off of the Bivol fight?
Wait, okay. So let's have this as a real discussion, right? What's Floyd weigh these days? $150, $60 max? Dripping wet, he's $160.
I'll throw it to you right after, and Miguel. If the price is right, I think Floyd would look. If he's hurting for money, and him and Canelo would generate so much amount of dollars coming back to him, I think he'll work on a catch weight. Floyd has always done catch weights. He knows the business of boxing. I think he would work out a catch weight with Canelo, something that would be fair. Canelo's losing weight to fight him, and he's obviously out of his comfort zone moving up.
That's crazy.
People,
This
is only talked about if Floyd is truly hurting for money. That's the only way Floyd comes back to fight Canelo. But I mean, with Canelo's defeat to Bivol and how now everyone all of a sudden Canelo's this one-dimensional fighter. Floyd says it was one of the easiest fights of his career. Does he look at a potential? He come back to try to take Canelo down? 7 years later.
Andrew, if you've got the UAE paying for these ridiculous exhibitions and they go, get Manny Pacquiao on the phone, right? Manny's going to take 20, 30, 40, 50 million to go fight an exhibition in Abu Dhabi. He came in third in the elections behind Imelda Marcos's son, which is so insane I can't even say it out loud, right? Literally they elected a dictator's child.
And it kind of shows that his star power is fading there.
Right.
Too. So I, who would really be pushing for a Pacquiao Mayweather second fight?
UAE.
Third.
The goddamn sheiks and the shakes or whatever they are. The chocolate shakes and the vanilla sheiks, whatever. The Iron Sheik, for that matter. They would. Absolutely they would. They would pay for Canelo. But Floyd's not going to do anything that isn't deemed an exhibition. He's not going to hurt his legacy. He's not going to touch that record. You got to pay a lot of money to go after that record. It would take hundreds of millions of dollars to get Floyd to actually unretire, I think. Especially when he's making, $1 or $2 or $3 million a fight to go spar with bums?
Go ahead after Miguel. His life demands a lot more than that 1 or 2 million.
Yeah.
That's not going to do it.
No, it's going to have to take one of those kind of guys. I mean, how was this fight even broadcasted? Was it a pay-per-view thing or what?
I don't even know. I couldn't find it.
Because how can they calculate whether or not it was a success or not? Because it's not like they had, I couldn't tell from the video, but do they have people up there too? Do they have
you know what? If I had oil money, who cares? I was thinking about it today. If I won the lottery, would I hire Metallica to play my birthday? Yeah, I would if I won $100 million. What's $1 million?
But you gotta understand though, nobody likes losing money. It doesn't matter how much little it is. Nobody likes to lose money anyway. So it's like they're gonna have to have something in return. They're not just gonna do it. I guess I suppose they can, and they have so much fucking money. It's really that disposable.
It is that disposable.
It
really is that disposable.
I suppose it is, right? I don't know. I figured how they would calculate that because it would have to take something like fucking a Manny rematch and or Canelo rematch. But I did something else that popped in my head. Like it does appear. Maybe this is the case with Canelo, but it maybe because people saw how shitty he looked against Bivol, specifically Golovkin and his people. They think, oh shit, okay, now he's really beatable this time. Now we can go after him. Maybe that's one of the reasons as well. But anyway, back to Floyd. I don't know if he's hurting for money per se. I kind of feel like he's losing money, but he's not hurting yet. Like, yes, he is on the decline, but I'm not sure if he's quite there yet. I don't know. It just as far as how much he weighs, because I did see clips, bits and pieces of the fight where he steals the ring card from the ring card girl and then does his own thing, and he's dancing and shit in between rounds. I didn't see that part. So I saw his physique. Dude is a gym rat, right? So it's not like he's ever really out of shape to begin with. So I'm thinking maybe I didn't see it if they weighed in, if that was even such a thing for that exhibition, if there was a weigh-in. But I'm thinking 155-ish is where he's probably at right now. He doesn't look more than $160.
Right.
But, yeah, for a fight with one of those dudes with Canelo or something, I'm sure he will absolutely be, and of course he's the one that's going to most likely be demanding the most amount of money, so he's the one that's going to try to have Canelo at a specific weight that he wants, of course, which again we're talking about
if he wants to be the GOAT.
Fuck if that even matters.
I just thought about this, sorry to interrupt, but I just thought about this. You want to be the GOAT, right? Come out of retirement. Take Charlo for all the belts.
Oh. Ugh.
Doesn't make enough. See, that's where you got to know who you're dealing with there, and that's Floyd Mayweather.
Well, yeah, no, he would never do that fight because Charlo would dismantle him.
He didn't take those type of fights in his prime. He's not taking that at 40.
No, I completely agree. I mean, look, the way people talk, it's the way people talk about Mayweather. Okay, look, I understand that politics is part of the boxing game, right? Like, we have to all accept that on some level, right? This is all about positioning and belts and money. This is a messed up sport where you will get screwed. You can be Otto Wallen. I actually was going to include about next week. Otto Wallen is like fallen to working a sub-B card in the middle. Dude, you were main eventing in Vegas on top of the world, took the heavyweight champion 12 rounds and diced him up. And you are now relegated to, what, Lancaster? I work in an armory? Like, bro, right? Boxing is a hard game, so I don't blame Floyd. I don't blame any of these people for taking their deals, okay? Because it is such a brutal business of getting screwed. Nobody wants to be Oscar de la Hoya anymore. Nobody wants to take the hard fight. And even Oscar at the end didn't take hard fights. He just dropped weight and got paid all the time, or gained weight in some cases. Nobody was doing, what some of these fighters were doing. I mean, if you really look at it objectively, when's the last time since really Mike Tyson? I'm just going one at a time. I'm going to go one at a time till I have all the belts and take out everyone. Klitschko, I'm going to take out the whole top 10. Yeah, I'm going to fight in Europe. Fuck you. I make $10 million a fight and I don't have to leave home. Right? Guys don't fight like that anymore. They fight within their company, within their division. It is high. It's all about keeping their O because we can't let it go,
Yeah, but Lee, we do have some 4-belt champions right now, so you can't.
We have
say
two.
anyone.
We have two at the moment, as far as I'm concerned. You've got Josh and you've got Charlo, right? So that's exciting.
As of recent news, maybe not Josh.
No, not Josh. He's got to drop one of the straps, right?
Right.
Yeah, but he's still the 4. I know, but he still
has
has all 4 belts,
Yeah,
and
he still achieved it. In other words,
Right.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want to fight what they're offering him as what they would consider because the dude doesn't rank on the other belts. Like, if you're going to defend all the belts, you got to... And I don't blame Tyson Fury for going, I made all the money, I won the game, I'm done. Like, I'm going out on top. Yeah, I'll probably come back and beat up Anthony Joshua or Usyk. I'll probably do those fights. I'll probably fight Francis Ngannou. But day to day, like, having to fight Dillian White and go into training, and he takes it seriously. Like, Tyson Fury's a real throwback in boxing. Like, this is who I'm supposed to fight. I'm really going to train, and I'm really going to go in there. Right? That's very rare in boxing, especially at the championship level. These guys are all... They got Adrian Broner disease. That's what I'm going to call it, AB disease. They've all got AB disease. And look what happens when you get AB disease too much. You become AB.
That's a good one. I like that one.
I like it too. But yes, I don't even know who Don Moore was. Like, this is Floyd. Please hold on to your money, brother. Jarrell Big Baby Miller is making a comeback, and it's set for June 25th. If you don't know the history of Jarrell Big Baby Miller, which is absolutely hilarious and chronicled on this show, this man didn't test positive for one, not two, but 3 different PEDs on 2 separate occasions, pissing off not only Eddie Hearn, but Bob Arum as well. This man is a prolific screw-up who looks like he's back on the clenbuterol by the way this photo looks. He is, and we've done it on this show, the man who introduced all of you to clenbuterol, as well as me. And let me say firsthand, clenbuterol, thumbs up, especially if you're a racehorse. How did this guy get a boxing license? Like, what in the blue hell is like, he doesn't even... First of all, he was fat before, which is even funnier. Andrew, how does this man keep getting a boxing license?
Well, I mean, I don't know. He did his penalty, so he gets to get his license back. The fact is, who's investing in him? And then we see that he's
Triller.
set for Triller. And if you look at Triller's record, right, they're not doing that great. Yes, I know they put on cool concerts, but their fighters' payouts don't seem to be coming back all the time. So I have no confidence that he even might get paid after this fight, where we all know nobody's going to tune in to watch Miller. I don't even want to call him by his nickname anymore. He doesn't deserve it. He's done nothing.
Can we call him Big Bitch? How about Big Bitch?
In the boxing world, he's an absolute nobody. So I don't think anyone's going to watch this fight.
Miguel, does he have AB disease?
Yeah, sure. We'll go that route. And he's back on the cleanse to cure the AB disease. I mean, yeah, like I don't. I guess it would depend on who his opponent is, if it's somewhat intriguing. But I mean, he's coming back, right? He's coming back on Triller, which is kind of like the, the boxing's redheaded stepchild, right? That people don't want to
really
admit to.
Below Pro Bellum.
Well, maybe not.
Pro Bellum's pretty low.
Yeah.
Pro Bellum's not even around.
Pro Bellum's fight cards are so bad that I can't even find them to watch them.
Well, maybe Triller's taking Pro Bellum's spot now as like the last,
the last stop. The last stop on the block.
Pretty much. So I mean, the fact that Miller's coming back to Triller is an indication of where he's at. But I mean, yeah, I guess it would depend. I mean, because if he's I don't know, if he's back on juice, we'll see how he looks.
He looks like it.
But, yeah, right. But I mean, with one strike, or I don't know how many strikes he's already had on his record. He did his time, right? He's back. Okay, I guess. By all means, if you did your time and you're allowed to. I mean, there's places like fucking Texas that would let Margarito with the fucked up eye fight. So anyway, so I'm not sure where
we let Tevin Farmer fight. Okay, that's bad enough.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I guess it's like, the fact that they didn't even use Big Baby in his, they just put like Jared Miller. They don't want to take anything away from the other baby. And they don't want to get him confused.
They probably sued him to take the Big Baby name, knowing. No, I didn't sue him. Listen, I copyrighted it. Get it right.
He's a nobody.
He's a nobody. Oh, too funny. Moving forward, Sergey Kovalev. Now that he's coming off that awesome win, because I watched it, awesome win. Can I say it with more irony for the room? Awesome win. I'm gonna fight every 3 to 4 months. This is like a loser leave town thing. Like. This dude is, I don't think he has AB disease. There's another thing in boxing that I call you're the wart or the pimple on the ass of boxing. This dude is a pimple that needs to be popped. Like, I realize the Triller's probably just going to feed him a bunch of shit cans and build up his record till he's in a position to win, I don't know, a WBO title or line up for one of those for Triller because he's got a name. But... how can this dude not go away? I mean, first of all, he's a piece of crap, allegedly. Secondly, it is he's gone from being somewhat kind of exciting as a fighter in the Andre Ward era to, what are you doing, dude? Like, what?
Yeah, you're talking about HBO, Lee. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, right? Like, how is Kovalev still around?
This is just more evidence of Triller's bad programming, so...
Oh no, I've got worse coming up. Don't worry.
No, Kovalev as your main event's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. I know you got worse, but this is pretty. The dude looks like he was put through one of those old apps, and it wasn't. This photo looks like he's the old guy, and it's not. That's a live shot. Look at how fat and out of shape he looks, and look at the front of it. How old his face looks. This is no one cares about Kovalev, bro. No one cares.
Miguel, concur?
Yeah, I mean, on top of the fact that he's moved up to to cruiserweight. I mean, that's not exactly the hotbed of fucking superstars by any stretch. So I mean, like, I don't know who the hell is going to fight. We pay so little attention to cruiserweight. It's like, all right, you might as well just make the leap to fucking heavyweight and go balls to the wall and get as much money as you can on the way out and get your ass handed to you by some of the best heavyweights. At the very least, there's some name recognition and you can get a little bit of a higher paycheck, because campaigning in cruiserweight, I'm not sure how much how many big more paydays he has left. And on top of the fact that he's considering, what did he say, 3 to 4 fights a year or whatever the hell.
Yeah, that's a crazy pace for his age. Like that's.
I swear, Triller's what is it? Game plan of using the Tyson and Roy Jones platform. The old guys was so much better than where they're at today. It really was.
I don't disagree with that. At least those were somewhat entertaining, right? You gave me a concert or Metallica or, whatever. And then you're putting on two classic guys who probably shouldn't be in the ring together anyway, which, hey, somebody might die tonight. That's kind of fun.
And on top of that, and here's the thing, like, they did something that's pretty, like, smart that we probably aren't really realizing. Not only do they get at guys like Roy Jones and Tyson, or did they, I should say, but, people who were fans at the time, it was 90s-ish.
Yeah.
So was Metallica, so it makes sense.
Yeah, we'll get Salt and Pepper or something. Like, we'll make it age appropriate for the room. Like, he seems to get that, and he is clearly a very sharky kind of carny human being based on the interview that I watched with him. If you get that, cool, but what are you doing with Kovalev? And that segues into, shit, now you've got Kubrat Pulev believing he wants a contender next.
Will, are we getting paid by Triller? What the hell's going this boo on the beginning of this fucking show? What the hell's going on?
Are you getting like some under the table money from money?
Jeez almighty.
Allegedly. Moving forward. Conor Benn, the angriest man in boxing. All right, the other person I'm getting money from, Eddie Hearn. Don't talk bad about Tommy Hearn. All right, Conor Benn, the angriest man in boxing. He is. He has got not only AB disease, he's got like James Toney disease. Like, he's just angry. Like, every interview is angry. Like, it's always Eddie Hearn trying to, calm down, mate. Calm down. Right?
Yeah.
He wants Keith Thurman. He wants Keith Thurman so bad that he can taste it. Like, he's got a hard-on for Keith Thurman. All right, so here's my question. Is Conor Benn ready to go up to a Keith Thurman, Adrian Broner, PBC? I would call them kind of the B tier. Certainly not the A tier. This is not the Errol Spence level. But let's just say it's B level. Keith Thurman, in that range. I start with you, Miguel. Is Conor Benn ready for coming up from the C level to the B level?
Yes, I do think he's ready. Now, whether or not he actually succeeds there is another story, but I think he's ready to at least, hold his own there. I mean, at this point, he's basically getting C and D level fighters, right? I mean, this is understandable. This is how early
Build your record.
Is.
Build your record.
Build your record, exactly, right? And Matchroom and DAZN or Tommy Hearn.
I'm sorry, let me use the term correctly in boxing. Get good rounds in the ring. Yes. Whatever the fuck that means.
And then he's got some good knockouts on top of that as well, right? I mean, again, we mentioned it, right? C and D level competition, but nonetheless, like, now it's time to go up to the B level. Go up to the Thurmans or the fucking Danny Garcias or the fuck else.
The B level. Right? You're ready for the Bs.
Let's do it.
The killer bees.
Because he's got every time he talks, he's got this chip on his shoulder, right? And
he's so angry about his dad.
Chips, this would be the plural because he has that many on his fucking shoulder that he's just like, all right, already, toss me in there with those guys. And he's still a young cat, and he looks like he's got like so much like vigor, So it's like, man, fuck it, throw his head in there, That's what he wants. It appears as though he's ready. We've seen him go the distance a couple of times, and you see that he has, the cardio to do so, right? It's difficult to get to make a 10-round fighter sometimes, but it's just like, this guy seems to be ready. So he seems to have the power. He seems to have the right tools. And again, once it's one thing, and we mentioned this before. It's one thing when you're whooping people's ass over there in the UK, but once you come over to the US, it is going to be another story. But hey, let's do it. It's time for it now. Let's get it cracking.
There you go, Andrew Lapache. What do you think, Conor Benn? Is he ready for the B level?
Well, yeah, he's ready for the B level. And when we're
Thurman's tough, bro. Don't sleep on Thurman.
No, Thurman's a has-been. No, he's a has-been. I don't see Thurman being able to go 12 rounds with Conor Benn. Conor Benn punches too hard. He's young. He's fresh. I don't see Thurman. Nah. It's a good fight. That's a great fight for him. Look, they put him up against, what is it, 4 guys really in his PBC career here. He's knocked out 2 of the biggest names, Samuel Vargas and Chris Algieri. On the PBC stable, on their fight cards, these 2 guys are on there a lot. So they're really known. He has big knockouts against both of them. He has another two wins against Granados and the guy he fought this last time, Herdin.
Oh, was it Algieri or no? Was someone else?
Yeah, he had another fight after Algieri. It's Chris Van Herten.
Okay.
And so he knocked him out in 2 rounds. I think it was over there. It was on DAZN, I want to say. I think held that one.
Well, he is a DAZN. All of his fights were DAZN, but he was fighting like PBC fighters basically.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, it was like the regular. I remember it was on regular daytime fight. It was like before all the other fights here in America. So it kind of snuck by there. But he did knock out the guy in 2 rounds. So he has significant knockouts here under the PBC banner or whatnot, or at least rising up in their opposition. Keith Thurman's definitely an excellent fight for him. If he's really trying to cross over, Keith Thurman is that fighter you want to put your guy up against before you start taking him into the top tier. You know, you could say Thurman's still at least top 10, top 12, hopefully. So if he beats him, maybe they jump to a title, or maybe they just go a little bit, into the top 7 or 5 bracket. Still no rush. He's only 25 years old, but Thurman is no champion right now. He is a stepping stone, and that's what they should use him as.
All right, that takes us. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Before we hop over, just to kind of like what mentioned, or to kind of like touch on what Andrew just said. He is 25, but I kind of feel like there is a rush. Like I think there should be a rush. Like we want another or more Crawford, Spence, early 30 type guys at the top? Like, do we want dudes in their
no, this is the new blood, right?
In their mid-20s. Like, I would think that would be the case, right? Like, that's kind of, I thought that's how it was. Well, at least it was back in the day, right? Dudes in their mid-20s, mid to late 20s were at the fucking top, but now we have guys in their early 30s. But how did Spence get there? Of course, we know the careful, what's the word, formula. But, I mean, to some degree, I kind of feel like there is a bit of a rush. Like, yeah, you're in your fucking mid-20s already.
Yeah, you should.
This should be it right now.
I agree.
Well, when I say rush, what I'm talking about there is if he was to fight Keith Thurman, correct? That's how I put him top dozen, top 10, hopefully still in the welterweight division. If he's to beat Keith Thurman, there is no reason if you go, okay, now I'm in line to fight the winner of Crawford Spence. I'm not fighting another hard guy until I get the winner of that, because everyone knows that I'm the guy that's supposed to get the winner of that. No, move him up a little higher. You
fight at the B level for a while.
You could fight a
absolutely.
Get another tough fight, and then you start calling it, because we all know who the 2 top guys are. And if everyone's gunning for those 2 top guys, no one's going to fight each other, right? We want these guys to still. So that's all I meant by there's no rush to see him against Spence or Crawford. Let's go after some of the other big fish that are right under them, and they're still great competitive fights. I'll tell you right now, Conor Benn versus Ugas, I'll tell you right now, the zone and PBC, I would pay for that. These are fights that you would that are to me, that is a great step up, and this is after Thurman. But those are great fights that I would look to invest to pay for an Ugas Conor Benn. To me, if Conor Benn takes out Thurman and then fights someone like of that caliber next, that's a young man who's trying to make it in his career, not invest in him.
There you go. Actually, I was thinking to myself, we should create like the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. line of where a fighter melts down, sort of like the Deadpool for boxers for having mental breakdowns. Tell me I'm wrong about this, Miguel. This kid is wound way too fucking tight.
Yes, he is. He really is. I mean,
and his dad seems so fucking nice.
I know, right? He must have got that from his mom. He had to kind of.
Does he got mommy issues? Is that what this is?
I don't know what the fuck it was, but I mean, he got that shit from his mom, because there's no fucking way. Just listening to how his pops talk, we're like, whoa, what the fuck? I mean,
oh my god, he's so proud and so happy. It's like.
But not like this, Jesus.
Yeah, it's Chavez Jr.
The UK is very heavy on him being a Chavez Jr. And maybe he just gets a little upset that he's still in that category when he wants to be his own man. But I know that he's
Dude,
he looked at a lot like he's just under his dad's shadow.
He's a Ferrari and a drunk night away of losing his mind from fucking pissing this away. And I can see Eddie Hearn's kind of point of, calm down, mate. Like, fucking take a breath. Like,
he told him that live on air.
Live on air. I watched it, right? Take a breath, right? It'll all come to you, right? You've got the skill. And his dad seems like a wonderful man. I don't know. Maybe he beats him with a belt. Well, fuck if I know. All right? Like, I don't know shit, to be perfectly honest. I don't know what goes on when... But I almost think that we need, like, a Deadpool for fighters having meltdowns. This is the next one on my list. Like, I'm watching this kid every day. Like, I'm not going to be surprised when I wake up and find out Conor Benn lost his mind and plowed into a school while driving a Ferrari drunk because he didn't get the Keith Thurman fight. Like, yeah. Saw that one coming. I'm just saying that these fighters are wound up, right? Boxing at this level is different, right? These are guys... Conor wants to be elite, and that's why I give him credit. This isn't like the rest of the crowd. This isn't, I'm protecting, this isn't an Errol Spence of everybody's avoiding me. Like, fuck that. Conor Benn's legit. He's Mike Tyson like, fuck that, I want to eat your children. Crazy. Like, he's crazy. And I respect that. I respect that in boxing.
How weak is the welterweight division? Keith Thurman has one win in like 2-3 years, and he's ranked third in the division.
Yeah. I think if Adrian Broner came back, I think he'd rank in the welterweight division. Like, what's Adrian Broner weigh these days? Does anybody have a track on Broner's weight currently? Is he still a welterweight, or is he a...
He was going back to junior welterweight.
I think Conor Benn versus Adrian Broner would be my favorite thing in the world. I would pay money for that.
Tommy Hearn said it a few times too.
They almost did it.
Oh my god, I would pay cash for that.
Shit, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I mean, I don't know if I'd pay for it, but like I wouldn't mind seeing that because I mean we're not exactly fans of Broner in the ring per se. Outside the ring's another story, but you know,
he's tough. It's a tough fight.
Another name, yeah, exactly. And then
what people don't get, and I agree with you. What people don't get about Broner. All right, look, yes, he always loses. But he's really hard to knock out. He's really cagey. He's a pain in the ass in the ring. For a guy like Conor Benn, I just want to see what he does when he gets frustrated. Like, I really want to see that Mike Tyson, I want to bite an ear crazy out of Conor Benn. And that just might be me wanting, like, the show of boxing. But I'm so tired of guys just going into the ring and I got to protect my and I got to box and I got to have a story if I lose. It's tiring at this point. Like, we've had a lot of boxing and a lot of C and B level boxing. We haven't had elite level boxing lately. And strangely, the elite levels, right? Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, like those girls stepped up. That's what I expect. You want me to sit down with my pizza, I bought $100 worth of food to sit down and watch a fight. Give me a show, girls. And they did, right? And we had a couple of weeks where it was like, wow, the main events are fucking delivering. And now we're back to this muddle in the middle of B, C, and D level fighting that is just, it's just like a grind. And listening to people like Mauro Ranallo telling you how great this fight is. Back to you, Al. Listen, Mauro. Yeah, fuck, dude, it's a shit fight. Why won't you guys just say once on the air, it's a shit fight. We're just filling time on the network. I mean, seriously. I mean, coming up, we've actually got some pretty, what I would say are mid-level upsets, which makes me happy to get rid of some of the fluff. But, geez, boxing, what are you guys doing in boxing? Like, what are you guys doing? What happened to... why is it that I keep romanticizing what we grew up with in the 90s, Andrew, when boxing was, like, for real? Because we're going to talk about the anniversary here. Let's jump to it. I mean, that's kind of the segue. It is the 20th anniversary this past week of Gotti Ward. A nothing fight at the B level that turned into a trilogy that cranked money. And Andrew still talks about it like it's the holy grail of boxing, for God's sakes. No, I'm not saying it is a bad thing. It was great fights, right? These are two guys who went to war. Look, we talk about what is it? Julian Jackson versus what's his name? The night he died, right? That was a great fight. I understand that he died that night, but it was a great. I can tell you where I was. I can tell you for Hearns Hagler. I can tell you when I watched Diego Corrales. Like, I can tell you where I was when I watched those fights. What I've seen over the last couple of years in boxing, I was in the arena, and I couldn't even tell you the nachos I had, for God's sakes. Like, it's that forgettable in a strange way. Boxing has...
You can't forget COVID has kind of knocked boxing in the dick for the last 2.5 years, okay? We weren't getting fights for a long time here because there is no money. There was no money in the TV rights. I think we all realized really fast that it does take those live gate purses.
Oh yeah.
To get these fights on.
And the gambling, right? In Vegas especially, Andrew, the gambling is a thing.
Triple G versus Canelo brought in $70+ million at the live gate. That's what they need to pay Canelo and also put that fight free on DAZN. They cannot have no live gate and then go, oh yeah, we're still going to put Canelo on for free. That's why they had to rework the contract. They had to cut his money. Everybody had to work with each other. So the fights were not getting made. Unfortunately, we didn't have a promoter that was able to talk two superstars into doing a pay-per-view in the COVID era. I do think they left money on the table with that fight. If there was two guys that were willing, let's say a Crawford, Manny Pacquiao, or something of that caliber, I think they would have done fine on a pay-per-view COVID platform because everybody was at home and everyone was dying to watch something. But unfortunately, it never happened. COVID rules, keeping people apart, the distancing, whatever it was, it kept it from happening. The Floyd Mayweather era hurt us. That hurt a lot of the young American fighters. Looked up to Floyd. They wanted to be Floyd. They started following his rob the bank scenario when that's not who made Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, he did take on the Bernardo Hernandez, Diego Corrales in one division, moved up, fights to steal. He did have to work his way to robbing the bank, as you would say. But there's a lot of kids that took that blueprint and tried to run with it in their own careers. We haven't had a Floyd Mayweather since. So that hurt us. The biggest thing is Lee.
What, Andrew? Gervonta Davis is not running that formula?
The biggest thing, and then I'm done, is what you said 5 minutes ago. I seen. You knew where they were to watch those fights.
Oh, my God, yeah.
The biggest problem is these casual fans do not know where these fights are anymore. No, you know what? Nobody's purchasing DAZN. If you are a half-ass fan, you are not purchasing DAZN to buy a pay-per-view to watch a fight. Okay? You're just not. And PBC, hella different platforms they put their fights on. ESPN is like the only legit one that we have. That's why they're the ones that are hitting with the strongest numbers right now. But boxing's biggest problem is we have way too many platforms and not enough diehard fans that are willing to search for these fights to look for them.
Well, and I say this constantly, right? Look, I make fun of boxing. I get that. Like, my one connection, and I have a bad relationship with my father. The one connection I had is that he took me to these fights, right? Like, I was a part of, Chavez at the Hilton, right? Like, I was there, right, before the Haugen fight. Haugen fought, and then Chavez, like, they used to set these things up back in the Don King day. Like, the only fond memories I have of my father are based on boxing. And even me learning about boxing, and he knew nothing about boxing, right? Listening to him explain to me, because you guys have known me long enough to know that, like, I figured it out. Like, I figured boxing out really fast, sort of all the inner workings when I started to get into it. And I didn't really get into it until the late 80s, early 90s. Where I wanted to, all right, how's this work? Like, what is somebody like, what does he do and what do they do? Like, how do the mechanics of this work? Forget the guys in the ring. I want to know how the whole thing works. Because you guys have both spent time, especially Miguel has spent time with me. Like, this is my whole existence of how does this work? Like, I need to know what this all is. And that's where it started for me. And we are literally boxing fans, and I say this to all of you who listen to the show or if you're watching the video, we are the most abused fans ever. Like, literally, on any given Sunday during an NFL season, right? I guarantee there's one good football game. There's at least one good football game, right?
I would say try being a fucking Raider or Bengals or so one of those kind of deep.
I totally get you. Look, I'm a Chargers fan, dude. I'm a Chargers fan.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Okay, it is the most effed up thing on the planet, but does it mean that I can't watch, the Rams versus, whatever? Like, I can get a good game even if I'm not into it. Wait, even today, the NBA playoffs, I'm not into it, but I guarantee you one of those games is going to be good. And if I were into baseball today, there's at least one good baseball game on a Saturday night with 5 different cards going off in LA at the same time. Guess what? You know what the odds are? All the fights are going to suck. Tell me I'm wrong. We've seen it a million times over the last, how long have we been doing this? And that goes back to this, the 20th anniversary of 2 guys who never really became anything. Like, I don't know, what is Ward doing these days? Is he selling insurance? I don't even know what he does. Okay?
Well, he sold the movie rights to this fight, probably made him a nice penny.
Hopefully. I mean, because these guys literally died in the ring. When's the last time we actually heard an announcer say they've been in the ring with each other for 30 straight rounds? They know everything. Remember the days of, the back-to-back, we're going to settle this. Who's the better fighter? Nobody fucking does it.
You want to know how thrilled what is it, the anticipation I was holding for this fight? I didn't watch the first one live.
Right, because it was crap. On paper, it's crap.
I mean, come on. Man.
Come on.
I know what they did in the ring was magical, but going in, Mickey Ward's name just didn't hold water in the boxing world.
Completely.
A gatekeeper at best. He had one solid win against I forget the Mexican fighter's name, but there was an up-and-coming young Mexican fighter on HBO. Mickey Ward ruined him with the body shot. That kind of made Mickey Ward on HBO. That kind of gave him his foot in the door there. And then him and Gotti go on to put on a classic. But there's really nothing else with Mickey Ward. It really is. And the young man, I can't even remember the name of the guy that he defeated to get his shot. But to me, he had a fight with Chavez that fell through. He almost got a Chavez fight one year, but then that fell through.
And then Gotti started beating women
that lightning in a bottle there.
Yep.
HBO when they got that.
All right, so I'm going to end on this topic. And everybody, I would love for you to comment. I don't normally ask for this stuff. We're going to try to be a little more interactive here. If you're watching the video or you're listening to the audio, please comment or send us an email, whatever the case. What is the fight that made you just, I gotta fucking watch boxing? What is it for you, Andrew? What was the fight that you went, I'm gonna watch this shit until I drop dead?
Well, boxing was always a part of our life. The fight, I mean, I guess you're talking about...
What's your pinnacle fight where you went,
Chavez, bro. I don't, it's Julio Cesar Chavez. You could say it's the Maldrick Taylor fight, but it's ridiculous to the sport. That's just, that's the, Lee, it was with us from the beginning. It was something our family...
Was that on TV? All right, so wait, I'll qualify it this way. So that's watching it on TV. What was the live fight where you went, oh my God, this is the best?
Oh, shit. I was at Delaware. I mean, it could have been the very first Vegas fight I ever went to, and that was Delaware versus Mosley 2.
That's a good fight.
That's the first fight that I attend. Vegas is cracking. I had seen nothing. Look, been to a lot of football games. I used to say this a lot. Been to a lot of football games, man. I've been to championship games. Never been to a Super Bowl, but I've been to playoff games, championship games. So what? It was compared nothing to like a live fight in Las Vegas. There is the atmosphere for a fight in Las Vegas. You can't top it. You got the casinos, you got the nightlife, you got everyone looking in their best clothes. That was, to me, I was hooked at that point on. I wanted to be a part of it.
As part of the anniversary, Miguel Antonio Barragan, the youngest member of the Fight Net Radio family, what was the televised fight that made you literally pop nipple?
My earliest memory of watching boxing was watching Tyson Douglas, of all things.
Wow!
I was barely 6. I remember my dad.
Oh my God, I feel so old at this moment.
Right.
Because I remember that HBO piece of him running in the snow with the fucking snow melting on his face.
And fucking snot, right?
Yeah, right?
Mouth and shit.
Ah.
And I remember that, and then like my dad was not a fan of Tyson. He's like, man, nobody can stand up to this dude. Like the guy who doesn't have any fear of him is gonna fuck him up. And my dad's been saying that for the longest time. And it's like, all right. And then we get Douglas, who we've all watched that HBO special, Legendary Nights, with his circumstances prior to the fight, and he just went in there with his attitude of like, I don't give a fuck what you're gonna hit me with. It's not gonna matter. So that is like that one. And then oddly that same year, Chavez Taylor won. That was like permanently ingrained in my brain. But that was like the televised ones. When I watched them, I'm like, oh shit, because I was a wrestling fan, so I knew what a fake punch looked like, and I knew I was watching boxing fan, so I knew what a gloved punch looked like. So an actual punch, I should say. So it made made all the difference. I kind of knew what the difference one was. I didn't quite know to what extent because I was still that young. But as you get older, you understand. But nonetheless, those were the ones like my earliest ones of like watching them, laying, watching it in my pop's room, or like watching it eating popcorn and shit. So
all right.
That was kind of like that's what I can recall specifically. As far as one that
I need live. What was your live gate where you went, crack?
It's man, see, that's the thing. By the time like one of those fights came around, I was already kind of on board. But I remember, and this is not that long ago. I should have known, but like it kind of was. When I watched I want to say it was Amir Khan and Marcos Maidana.
Wow.
Fights that I went to like live, and I paid like a really decent price for the ticket to get like really close. That one in particular was that fight was entertaining as hell, and at that point Marcos Maidana was the shit, and I think Amir Khan only had that one fight that one defeat, I should say, that one defeat knockout loss. And we were all just, thinking he's very chinny. He's gonna get hit. The second, Maidana hits him, he's gonna go down. And it ended up being one of the fucking most like thrilling fights ever. I was like, damn, this fight's looking bad, man. And of course, I saw it live, and I was like, holy shit. And then it helped that I had a couple of beers in me, right? So that definitely made things even more like, oh, good lord. So I think that one is like, wow, I need to come to much more of these fights. And I did eventually, like Marquez and Katsides. I went to that one, which was off the chain, right? And I just started going to more of these fights, not as media, of course, but as a spectator.
How was that fight?
It was a good fight. It was a good fight.
Yeah, that was. Going to these fights is like, damn, these are fucking cool. But I really like the one that kind of said, oh shit, because like I said, we were already fans by the time we already went live. You have to be generally you have to be a fan by the time you actually go there live. But the one that kind of locked me in, it's like, oh, I'm gonna keep coming to these, was probably Khan and Maidana.
All right. Andrew.
Hey, so let me defend myself a little on the reserve my watching of the first.
Yes, please take the floor.
1997, he defeats an undefeated young man named Alfonso Sanchez. Now, the 1997
WTF?
The transition where Chavez is starting to get old. I think he probably already takes a defeat by this time, and now they're looking for his replacement. And HBO floods the gates with like just every undefeated Mexican guy they could find to try to find Chavez's replacement. So they're pumping this guy Sanchez up, pumping him up. Mickey Ward TKOs him, body shot, 7th round. Mickey Ward then fights Vince Phillips. Vince Phillips loses. He then fights Zab Judah, loses. He then fights Antonio Diaz, loses. He fights Jesse James Leija, loses. Leaves. I'm not watching the Gotti fight, who's stepping in the ring with 5 defeats himself that night. You see what I'm like? Mickey Ward had done nothing to where what Gotti Ward brought him, and that's really why, to me, that was it was kind of just a gap filler fight. I didn't watch the first one.
And neither did I, honestly, because like when we talk about like going back and thinking about these fights, like this wasn't the ones that I was like, oh shit, we gotta watch it. However, the rematch, that point we already knew about the first one, right? And I told my buddy, like, dude, you gotta watch this. Like, oh yeah, like we gotta watch the rematch. And the rematch was, I mean, it wasn't the first one, but it was still a very entertaining fight. And it's like, oh shit. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but HBO did this really cool like segment when at the very beginning of the fight they had the TV in black and white, kind of like the old school fights, and they actually switched to black and white, TV. And it's like, where the, and they were doing like the entries when the guys were walking to the ring, when Gotti and Ward were walking to the ring, their ring entrances. It was in black and white, and we're like, are they gonna do this for the whole fucking fight? Like, what the hell? And then they had the old school mic dropping from the center of the arena. I think it was Michael Buffer who was announcing it. He grabbed like the old school ones, right? And we're like, wow, they're gonna do this old school thing the whole fight. And then once the bell rang, they switched to color TV, and we were back. But it was like cool.
The black, yeah.
But that's the thing though. Like the first one, not so much. It wasn't really like a thought. I didn't cross my mind. I'm like, whatever. And then the rematch though, I was like, oh, I told my buddy to come over. Like, we're gonna watch this fucking fight. Watch. And of course, it did deliver.
I will qualify mine because Andrew knows mine. Normally, I would tell everybody it was Hearns Hagler because I remember standing there in, I don't know, 8th grade or 9th grade or whatever it was, and somebody played the tape for me. That was my introduction. But Andrew knows definitively the fight where I went,
Jesus.
Who's my fight?
No, you.
Who did I emulate when I walked to the ring?
I fucking hate you, Lee.
You hate that fight. I don't know why you hate.
I know. Are you? I was all right. Listen. First answer was Hagler Hearns because you say.
Yeah. No. Don't get me wrong. You would have been right on that one. But when I did San Diego, when I did the fight.
It's not when you told your dad we had to get out of the building fast.
Oh, that's the live event, right? That was. Oh my God! I was there for Frankie Randall. I was there for the upset.
Go with the Frankie Randall charge.
That's my live event. But what's the fight that actually... Oh, my God.
It's going to slap me in the face.
Corrales is literally the greatest fucking fight I've ever seen in my entire life. Andrew knows this, so you don't know this, Miguel, because the video doesn't actually exist. I actually wore the camo... I wore camo in San Diego. After... Yeah, I did.
See, I knew it was going to slap me in the face.
Nah, you got them all right. You got, like, literally those are the three for me where I'm like, fucking boxing rocks. Like, that is so fucking gangster. Like, I love that shit. There's something about Mike Tyson without the socks. There's something about Oscar in his prime. There's just, fuck, yeah. Chavez, like, yeah. I love that shit. And now we're in an era of my O can't go. I can't drop a belt. It's strap season.
Seeing these guys tower over people.
Oh yeah, no, wait, that's the new thing, right? I'm gonna be the champion at 168, but I'm gonna fight the 160 contender. What a dick! I mean, seriously, what the fuck is up with you people? Like, you're fighting one human being bigger. Well, he was the #1 contender at the weight class below me. Right, the weight class below you, dickhead. I mean, seriously, we have literally jumped to, let's say that I'm a Charlo brother. I need a fighter. Hey, we can fight the guy who's literally in the next weight class below me, even though he's 2 feet shorter and probably a human being shorter, but we're both #1 contenders. No, you're technically not. You're literally a human bigger. I mean, douche. I mean...
Yeah, when you look back in the days, the Duran matchups...
Yeah.
Obviously, when Duran got higher into the junior middleweight, super welterweight division, yes, then you could say height and everything started playing. But overall, these guys used to be matched up pretty good against each other.
What?
Right now, even in the lightweights, I mean, we seen the other day with young Shakur going up against Valdez. He looked like he was 2 divisions bigger when the
fight
took place.
I mean, even this Bivol fight with Canelo, fucking Bivol's a big-ass human being. Like, that's a big... we were looking at him, I'm like, dude, he's big. Like, he's as big as me. Like, that's a big dude. Like, I don't know what Canelo's thinking. I mean, I thought Canelo was still going to walk through him because he thought he had more boxing skill, but Jesus Christ, man, these are big human beings fighting smaller human beings. I mean, it worked to Bivol advantage for one rare night, but normally it's the other way around. Like, you're a Charlo brother or whatever, and you take the guy from the weight class below you who's a top 10 contender. Like, I don't know where we've come from this point of two guys just going and throwing, right? I mean, AKA Rocky style, to where we are today, which is, I'm all about my billions. All right, Broner, where are you? A crack house right now? I mean, Jesus.
You know, like I have a theory, I guess, a hypothesis. I don't, and it almost hurts me to say it because I know that these fighters really put like their lives on the line when they do
absolutely,
you know, but I'm feeling like they just, all right, I'm thinking that the money is just too outrageous now. It's too fucking outrageous. It's like too damn much. There's no.
It's crack. It's
salary
literally
caps.
crack.
Yeah.
You're
how other sports, other teams have salary caps, right? Like there's nothing like that for fucking boxing. Just
wait,
how much a network is willing to pay X amount of dollars for X fighter to fight X fighter. It's like, and again, it hurts me to say this because these dudes, like when they go out there and they don't prance around for 12 fucking rounds, sometimes I'm like, okay, well, the guy probably didn't deserve that goddamn. There should be some sort of incentivize something like you go out there and you get paid X amount of dollars more if you fucking risk more, which is kind of the way it's supposed to be, or you go out there for the fucking kill and not just outpoint the dude for 12 rounds and think that you deserve these multi-million-dollar contracts. And it just and it sucks to say that because you want these dudes to make a living out
absolutely
of it, right? Like a significant living, but it's like when they're getting paid, when David Haney was getting paid, $800,000 to fight the fucking nobody, $1 million to fight fucking Gamboa. You're like, what the hell? Like, how? What's the risk in this? Like, I don't get it.
Well, take it on a lower level, Miguel. All right, we're all very aware of my medical conditions, right? When Creator Clash came around, it was a real hard pause for me. It was a very, it was approached. There was an email. I'm like, my health is maybe a little more important than all of this, right? But it's crack. It's literally crack. You're back in the middle of the ring, right? We all want to be rock stars, okay? Nickelback got it right. We all want to be rock stars. Number two, fuck, you guys are talking about actual money. I didn't make a goddamn dime in that Danny thing, right? And I sold out a fucking arena. I sold an arena for that fight. Maybe it was POD. I'm not gonna lie, but the reality is we didn't have the internet. Like in 2007, you didn't have what this is today. Like you didn't have Jake Paul's. You didn't have Mr. Beast. You didn't have people that are YouTube is now a real platform for people, right? And that's what this has all become. The Francis Ngannou Tyson Fury fight is technically a YouTube fight. It's not really a promoter fight. Yeah. And that's the era we're in. We just want to see fucking crazy ass exhibitions. How about Floyd Mayweather against a fucking monkey? All right? I don't even care anymore. Right? Because nobody is going to fight for the belt. Like, we're not unifying the belts. Boxing is dying on the vine. The minute Bob Arum is dead, boxing is fucked. Okay? I'm going to say it definitively. The day Bob Arum dies, boxing is fucked. Because the people coming in behind Bob are vultures and weasels. I mean, I'm just being perfectly honest. We're going to lose an era of boxing. Bob at least lines his guys up to fight. I mean, Oscar thinks he is, but he isn't. He's making his guys stay at the B level. Like, they just move up slightly. They never really go anywhere. Bob has no joke. Like, you fight, you win, you're out. And that's it. It's a dying breed of boxing. Like, this is all very... We're watching the tail end of an era, and I don't know where boxing actually goes in the future at this point. If it's the PBC, we're fucked. Or Triller. God forbid. At least we'll get good concerts. Let's run through a couple of these and then get to last night's fight and get you out of here. Naoya Inoue is just a few weeks away, but it's going to be on ESPN Plus. That's just more of an announcement. Charles Castano peaked at 832,000 views. This will be a fun one for Andrew. Only 832? Are you telling me ESPN fights get more views, Andrew?
No, but listen, that's a decent number for Charlo Castano. Castano really unknown in America. More of a diehard fight. So that's a good number. I'm not mad at that number. They could at least work with that going into his next big fight with hopefully another headliner and not just a title defense.
Miguel, should it have been more?
It's tough to say. I mean, yes, it would have been nice if it was more, but it really isn't too bad considering, Showtime is like a premium channel, right? You have to pay for a subscription for that. I know you do also ESPN Plus, but I mean, the majority of us kind of already have ESPN Plus. Not everybody has Showtime. So the fact that this number brought in this Showtime, I don't think it was like a free weekend or free preview weekend. At least I don't think so for Showtime. The fact that I pay extra for Showtime. I have it on my Hulu subscription. So I don't think that many people have that. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure some do, but how many people that have Showtime that pay for the Showtime subscription are actual boxing fans? They watch for the other shows that they're on there, right? So I don't think this is too bad of a number. It's up there. I think once you like crack 500K, I think it's not that bad,
All right, cool. All right, it's actually going to happen. Is this fight actually going to happen, or is somebody going to get COVID this week? This is literally, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, Miguel, 3 years in the making to get Tank and Rolly Romero in the ring. Like, this is a 3-year in the making fight. I feel like it's at least 3 years. It's probably only 2.
Yeah, I think it's 2. I think it's 2. That's more like...
Fuck me. All right, so it was Triller. Wait, let's get it right. It was Triller, Hearn, and whoever has it now, probably TGB or somebody. I'm like, wow. Do I even care about this fight?
Man, okay. So, Rolly's a local dude. He's a Vegas guy. I've seen some of his fights, right? I've been to some of his fights. I interviewed him once. When you follow some of these fighters, sometimes you don't want to root against them, right? You don't want to root against them. So, me being here in Vegas and having been, familiar with and privy to Romero and his previous fights, for me, yes, of course, I'm gonna want to see it because I'm gonna root for fucking Romero. Yeah, his mouth kind of gets on my nerves sometimes, and it's the shit that he says. It's like, bro, come on. I get where he's coming from. I understand his, I guess what is his character that he's trying to his persona.
Listen, brother, say your prayers and eat your vitamins. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, right.
So he's going that direction. Okay, fine. Yes, I understand the direction he's trying to go to is not he's going for the role that he's trying to go for. But I don't know. Maybe it just doesn't work for him. I don't know. But I'm gonna watch it, of course. But for the general, public or casual fans, they could just probably skip it. I'm not sure. Considering, he's got a puncher's chance. Of course, he's got a puncher's chance because the dude is big. He's taller than fucking than Davis. He has physical strength. His beginnings in fighting are judo. So the guy has core strength, and he hits hard. He does hit pretty hard. And so it's just, but he's never been hit by somebody anywhere near the power that fucking that Davis has. Even if it isn't in the uppercut, just a straight left hand will fuck him up, and the right hook he's got that right hook that Davis landed on Pedraza is like, goddamn. So he can land that on fucking on Romero. So I don't know. I guess Romero's just trying to get into his head, right? That's obviously what he's trying to do. But for everybody else, I don't think you should care about this fight too much. I'm gonna watch it, of course. But yeah, for anybody who's not familiar with Romero, you can probably skip it.
Andrew, are you gonna watch the fight?
Yeah, I'll stream it. I would. That's what I was gonna start off with. They're making us pay for this one, so I would say no, because the show has done nothing to warrant a pay-per-view price. This is his first big fight of his career. It's really unheard of that someone of this caliber would make $70 to watch. They're making it seem like Tank is a star. He's not a star. I know he does good on the live gate. That's cool. He hasn't crossed over on TV yet. We'll see what happens after this fight. But nah, Raleigh, he did good in his last interview. I liked how he was talking. He had a lot of confidence, basically saying that Gervonta Davis eats way too many punches. I think everybody on Fight Night Radio knows that's a long time here. And he also said he's been doing nothing but fighting guys 2 divisions under. So I liked his mentality going in. I'm at least on the same track with him, that I think a lot of the flaws that he's bringing up about Davis' career, there's something there to it. It holds water. So maybe the kid gets in the ring and shows Davis he's not a little guy. He's the same height, same weight as you, and he's going to knock your head in today. Davis, like a tank, does eat way too many fucking punches. So we'll see what happens.
All right, let's get into the weekend review and get everybody out of here. Jesse Magdaleno easily boxed past Valencia for a decision win. Listen, don't sleep on Jesse Magdaleno.
Sleep on him.
Yeah, I don't know what Bob's obsession with Jesse is, right? Like, it's his journeyman that he sticks in the ring all the time with anybody who needs a fight. Listen! I feel like he could be, like, Bob could literally become Darth Vader at some point. Like, listen! Join the dark side. Miguel, you probably watched the entire Top Rank card like a lunatic. And by the way, did Holly Holmes win?
She didn't. It
Oh!
was controversial. It was a little controversial. The fight went the distance, and even the girl who beat her, she was even surprised. She was like, "Oh shit!" I was surprised, but she was Brazilian, so they're super religious. So thank God, it's crying all over the fucking place.
Well, I need Holly to keep posting half-naked pictures. I mean, I'm just being me.
I was gonna say, come on, dude.
Well, it's strictly jealous on my part. Holly Holm and literally posts half-naked pictures on social media all the time, which...
Holly Holm did her job. She should go to the Hall of Fame, and she did exactly what she was supposed to do for me, so...
There you go.
Awesome in my book.
All right, so Jesse's back. Victor Ortiz, Andrew, tell me about Victor. Did anybody watch Victor Ortiz survive a final round knockdown? Did he win the fight?
Yeah, he won. I mean, I think I've seen like Instagram posts saying like Victor is back, Ortiz is back. No,
Ortiz is back.
No, please. It's like,
Mac is back.
No, come on.
Is he back, Andrew?
No. Listen, a lot of these fighters you're talking about are not back. They're all. It's really weird. It seems like a lot of these promoters, they just have this list they go to if they don't have fighters. And these guys answer the call every time. No, Victor Ortiz is a journeyman. He's a gatekeeper. There's nothing there.
All right, so would we say that Magdaleno and Ortiz are at the C level, but they're fun for a fight with a name? I feel like we should someday do a show of, like, ranking.
They're a showcase fighter, man. You put them on the bottom of your undercard. If they don't make the TV, they don't make the TV. I mean, that's where they're at in their careers right now, and they're there to make other people look good. That's it.
All right, fair enough.
I don't know if I can say that about Magdaleno per se. I mean, yes, he's kind of. I mean,
C. He's a C level.
As recent as like 2016, he has a win over Nonito Donaire. So that counts for something, and it's relatively, not that far ago or not that long ago. Yes,
did you say 2016? We're in 2022, Miguel.
That's pre-COVID. That's pre-COVID, bro. Woo! Living off a win from 2016. Oh my God, that's brilliant. All right. All right. The main event was. Jamal Herring got beat in a 10-round decision. I know you watched this. I didn't watch this. Did Jamal or
36 years old in 2000. That brings a tear to my eye, Miguel. That's how long ago that is, man.
Oh, that's so great. Miguel, what happened to Jamal Herring? The wheels came off the wagon.
I'm not sure. Speaking of age, I don't know how old he is now, but he's on the way out, right? And he moved up to lightweight. He had a hard time making 130, so he's finally made the move up to lightweight, and he didn't look that great. I mean, he didn't look that bad. He just never looked like, it almost looked like he couldn't ever switch it to that next gear. That he was just like that lacking. I don't know. You would think that he has more energy right now, having to drop the additional 5 pounds to make 130. That he had that energy to switch up to the next gear whenever he needed it, and he just couldn't. And he was getting beat to the punch. It wasn't his best performance. He didn't look terrible. It wasn't like he got his ass handed to him by Ortiz by any stretch. But Ortiz basically outworked him. It really did. That's ultimately what it came down to. And there was just it seemed like he was just behind a step. And after that, I had switched over to the other card, the UFC card, so I didn't get to see what Herring said after the fight. But I think he retired. I think he was.
Thank God.
About his future, so I'm not sure. I don't know if that's the case.
Is it Jamel or Jamal? Are they twins?
No,
I'm still chasing this dream that there are 2 of them.
It's not a Charlo. It's not a Charlo. He's a part of the Charlo clan.
Which takes us to the main event. I'm very intrigued by this. Janibek, which is the only name any of the announcers could actually pronounce. They didn't even try for the last name. They literally would say Danny Dingham, but all they said was Janibek. And by the it's Almakana, like, fuck that. Like, that's all kinds of last name. Janibek is a scary 160. Like, this is a scary, scary human being. And of course, we could jump to Bob's comment about Janibek in his fight. Janibek is the next middleweight superstar. Listen, there's no doubt about this future on this division. What a sensational performance from a man and a fighter. That's it? You got nothing crazy to say, Bob? All right, cool. I'm actually disappointed. Normally when I keep those, I'm hoping for crazy Bob. Don't sleep on him! All right, there you go for everybody. I was extremely impressed, right? So you go to Resort World. We're talking about a lower level fight on a Saturday night in Vegas at Resort World. And if you don't know, it's a brand new hotel in Las Vegas. Lovely place. You go out back to this little pavilion. They had a good crowd. And somebody I've never heard of prior to this week named Janibek, lots of letters. I don't even know if there's vowels in that name. I think the chemical sign for boron is in his last name. Oh my God. Alkamanuli? I fought a dude named Danny Dingham. And literally KTFO'd. Like, I haven't seen a KTFO of that scale in quite some time. Like, dude was out, Miguel. He was out.
He like, this dude lit him up so bad. I mean, it was a great performance. We came in there expecting him to have, these kinds of fights, right? We're expecting him to fight this kind of competition. At this point in his career, he's barely like at the 12, 13 fight mark. So it's time for the next step, right? The guy, I mean, we anticipated this happening, right? The guy who we beat, the Dingham, Dingham, he had never fought outside of the UK prior to this fight. So, I mean, it's a new experience for him.
But he was ranked number 3. Like, he literally, yeah, I know. We're talking B and C level. I totally get that when we're talking fighters, but fuck, you went through him like a hot knife through butter, bro.
Like he should have. That was his job. He needed to go through him like a hot butter knife through fucking butter, which he did. What I loved about it was after the fight, during the post-fight interview in the ring, flat out called out Charlo. He's like, well, what's his name? Kriegel asked him about, what's next, and he's like, look, Charlo, give me Gennady, because I think Kriegel pulled out, he name dropped Triple G in there. And so he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, ain't one of them. But he specifically mentioned Charlo. It's like, okay, bam, now we're talking. I dig it. If you're gonna have that, a few seconds of spotlight on you right after the fight, after you saying like who you gonna call out. If you're gonna call out the dudes. And of course, he went after a PBC dude. He went after one of the other champions, Charlo in particular. I'm digging it. He definitely does need like some sort of nickname to make his fucking name a little bit easier to pronounce. Some sort of like Triple G-ish kind of initials or something to make his, everybody knows who you are with your nickname and whatnot. But I love the fact that he called out Charlo after the fight. That shit was amazing. I loved it.
Andrew, did you get to see the destruction of Danny Dingham?
Yeah, but my I was I stop at his name. His name is Danny fucking Bingham.
Well, I was actually going to do a joke about dingleberries and how we all stand in the shower pulling dingleberries off of our hairs underneath our taint, which isn't fair to Danny, but he kind of fought that way.
The knockout was impressive. You know, it's a good knockout. Like Miguel said, he was supposed to knock this guy out. Nobody knows him. He's a nobody to America. Never fought out his country. Physically didn't match up with this guy at all. Once again, looked like a bigger man fighting a smaller man. And it played out like that in the ring. And not too many punches before the guy just goes down. It was a decent uppercut. Part of me felt like Bingham didn't want to be there. I know it was a decent uppercut. I get it. But part of me feels like Bingham didn't want to be there. Maybe he felt the power early on and was like, fuck this first big shot I am. I'm going down on my back. Because that's what it looked like happened. But he's 12-0-8, okay? So before we put him as the future, he's 12-0-8. We've seen European fighters come over here before with these knockout. They knock out all the little guys, and as soon as they step up in the opposition, say like a Charlo, it would be a step up in opposition big time. They don't look the same. So hopefully they bring him up at a steady pace. It's good right now, but he did knock out Danny Bingham for his first title.
Listen, Lomachenko was 12-0-8 when he got his first title. I'm not doing anything that isn't out of order there.
No, a lot of these
Andrea.
They go for it fast. But Lomachenko also took a defeat early on in his career too.
Dad, he was robbed. He was robbed.
No.
He was robbed. That's what the problem with you, Andrea, is. Okay? Listen, you and women who don't know shit about boxing. Okay?
He must have rematched. He rematched that fighter and got a victory right away, right? Right, Bob? You want me to
Listen! I can't get a fair shake. Okay? Because of that dude from Knucklehead Boxing, Sean. Okay? He's got it all worked in with the referees and the judges. It's all fucking fixed. I can't get a fair shake for the greatest boxer of all time, Lomachenko. Just saying it. That was real inside boxing. And if those of you who got it, enjoy that joke. Which takes us to the main event of the evening. Mario Lemieux comes out of hockey retirement only to get beat to death by David Benavidez. First of all, yes, I get the joke, everyone. But David Lemieux fought like Mario Lemieux. Like, I actually think Mario Lemieux with a hockey stick would have fought better than David Lemieux. I don't even know how we got here to the multi-fight level, but Benavidez, and I don't want to say this because it's putting him on a pedestal, David Benavidez looks like a real threat, Andrew. Like, he looks like the real deal. Like, he's legit.
Are we gonna? Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a good knockout. Once again, it looked like he was two divisions bigger.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, no, that's the PBC code.
So, yeah, it's almost becoming so common in boxing. I feel like if I ever match Junior up with someone the same size, I'm doing him a disservice. You know what I mean? Like, are they supposed?
Why would you do that? Wait, hold on. As his boxing godfather, okay? Why would you do that? What are you doing?
David Lemieux, inside the locker room, he had a roll hanging over his shorts. I don't know if anyone caught that.
Oh, yeah.
But the guy, he looked so out of shape, man. Listen, great win. He's still undefeated. I would love to see Benavidez either fight Charlo or Caleb Plant. Two guys that are his size. They've been in his division for fucking years.
Years.
Mostly those years all champions, too. Are you guys still with me?
Yeah.
All right. Mostly all of those years, all three of them have been champions. I would really like to see those three face each other, besides just, sitting on the sidelines and waiting for Canelo to grant them a fucking paycheck, which Caleb Plant has already cashed. And anyone noticed, Caleb Plant hasn't been back since then. But, yeah, I would like David to fight someone out of the super middleweight division before I jump all on his shit. Lemieux, I think the only thing Lemieux was going to bring to this fight was his power. unfortunately, he never landed, I don't think, a punch in this fight, and he wanted out pretty fast.
Yeah, sadly, Andrew, as a side note, as I was talking, you weren't involved in the conversation last night. I'm like, Miguel, do I want to watch this? He's like, oh yeah, it'll be a scrap. Miguel, it wasn't a scrap.
Maybe a one-sided scrap.
Really? Really, bro? That's where you're going with this?
Cause, I mean, we were expecting...
You made me stay awake for this shit.
Do you go to bed that early?
Yeah, I actually do. I'm an old man at this point. It's not the years, it's the mileage.
Oh, I see. That makes sense. Well, I mean, you know, it was one-sided, right? I mean, we kind of, I was expecting the power to come from that left hand from Lemieux, and I thought he can, at least for, you know, the first maybe 4 or 5 rounds, keep Benavidez off him. And at some point, Benavidez was going to land, and, you know, later on, I figured that maybe past the 5th or 6th round is when Benavidez will turn it up. But, I mean, right off the bat, you know, he went and I mean, number one, Lemieux never looked necessarily ripped at 160 anyway, and he looked even, you know, flabbier at 168. And, you know, you can tell, you know, the age is coming up to him, and maybe he just wasn't in good shape. Maybe it's just his body doesn't respond in that fashion. Some guys, you just can't tell. You know, some guys work out and they look, you know, they're in great condition, but they don't look it. So, you know, who the fuck knows what his issue is?
Yeah, James Toney never looked like he was in condition.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, but I thought, you know, hey, you know what? If he's not gonna have to, you know, kill himself, because he did struggle a few times to make 160. So if he doesn't have to kill himself, I figured he's gonna have a little more pop in that left hand, and it did nothing to Benavidez. It did nothing. He did land it a couple of times, and I don't know who the hell Lemieux has in his corner, but apparently they don't teach him how to fucking clinch. Like, they don't teach him how to fucking clinch and, like, buy yourself time to shake off the cobwebs. There were so many times where, like, I mean, especially early on that first round, where he would get caught, and then leading into the second round, and he just, like, he would throw back, which is like, holy shit, this dude's got a lot of heart. He's throwing, he's like gonna, you know, bite down on his mouthpiece and just unload that left or whatever power he's got. And it's Benavidez, man, like, there's something about his power, the snap in his punch. It almost looks like he doesn't have to wind up so much. You know, he's got, I don't know if it's his foot positioning or how much, like, whip he can get from, like, his hips, but it looks like he needs so little room to unload a hard ass punch. But you can see how much snap he puts into those punches, and it's like, damn, you don't realize that it's not that, like, Manny Pacquiao from way the fuck over here from, you know, left field, left hook, left straight, you know, that he throws with so much power. You see it coming, right? Like, it's just, David Benavidez has, like, a different kind of power, I think. And, you know, Lemieux just no match. And on top of the fact that he couldn't even clinch. Like, there were a few times where I'm like, where is your clinching? Where, you know, yes, he's backpedaling. Yes, he's trying to throw his own left. But at no point did he try to, like, hold on or something right by himself some time. None of that. I was like, what the hell? What are they telling Lemieux? Like, yeah, keep throwing. So, you know, Lemieux had no business in there, really. It sucked. I was hoping he could put up a better fight, but, you know, at this point in his career, he was in there for the payday, really. And after the fight, you know, I was loving the fact that Benavidez was calling all them guys out, right? He was saying, all these motherfuckers, none of these bitches want to fucking send me the contract. So, you know, why hasn't these fights already been made? Considering the fact that they're all, you know, the ones that Andrew mentioned with Charlo and Caleb, they're all on the same fucking platform. They're all on the same channel. They're on the same PBC stable. It's like, why haven't these fights already been made? Can we fucking make them already? Jesus, you know, he's got himself another belt again. Okay, Benavidez has a little bit more leveraging power now. I mean, yeah, as far as negotiating, I mean, but it's like, man, great performance by Benavidez, not taking nothing away from him, right? He went in there to do what he needed to do, and he got himself a strap again, or interim belt, or whatever. They mentioned, you know, potentially Canelo, but he didn't seem too interested in it. Oddly, he talked about everybody else, which is fine, you know, whatever. If we know that Canelo's going to potentially fight Bivol again at 175, there's no point in trying to call him out back down to 168. If Canelo comes back, fantastic. If not, he's got his eyes set on those other guys at PBC, so I like that. But yeah, great win by Benavidez. Lemieux should probably hang him up. Oh, one more thing. The point where the referee stepped in to stop the fight, I think was a little, I don't know, it was a little weird, because he could have stopped it.
It's the corner, though, bro.
Oh, it's the corner? Okay.
I felt that too, and what I seen on the highlights is, looking back, is that they're saying that it's the corner that stopped the fight. So the ref wanted to stop it in round 1. He let it continue because the bell rang. In the third round, though, it's the corner, I guess, that comes up on the ring post and tell him to stop it at the time that they did.
That makes more sense because like I didn't like. I was like, what of all times to stop it, he could have stopped it earlier or kept it going. But all right, that makes more sense.
And I think when Lemieux watches the replay, I agree. I wish he would have thrown one left hook in that corner that Benavidez ended the fight in. Really, that was one of the sloppiest finishes I'd ever seen from a 3-time champion. Hands were absolutely just no respect for Lemieux's power. Hands down at the waist, throwing 6 uppercuts in a row. It was just like, what is going on? Throw a fucking punch. All Lemieux had to do was ball up, and I know he's a fighter. I'm not saying he doesn't have the balls, but all he had to do, I think when he watched that replay, he'd be like, man, why didn't I just unleash one? Just one. Yeah, I'm hurt. Yeah, but, isn't this what they're training for, is these positions? The all the workouts that they do when they try to, say this is how you react when you get punched or how you're hurt. The drills that they do. It seems like he just didn't let loose unless once, because fucking Benavidez was wide open. The guy had no respect at that point for Lemieux's power, and Lemieux has power. I wish he would have tested it one time. Unfortunately, he did not. That wasn't a great finish, in my opinion, by David Benavidez. He looked real ugly in that corner.
Which brings the question up. I start with you, Miguel. Would Mario Lemieux with a hockey stick have been a better fight than David Lemieux?
Let's see here. With a hockey stick, with the gloves and the helmet, yeah, I say so, yeah.
Andrew?
Yeah, man. I mean, when you really look at Lemieux's record, Lee, we're talking about 2 wins since 2014. We're talking Curtis Stevenson and O'Sullivan. I forget O'Sullivan's first name.
Yeah, the Spike. It's Spike O'Sullivan.
There you go.
I know it.
Yeah. Those are, and those fighters are just not championship caliber. But besides those 2 names, Lemieux, since the Rosado fight, has been nothing but a punching bag for everyone else. Put it this way: if in 2022 your highlight is from HBO, you are a fucking has-been. You are not relevant in boxing no more if your highlights come from HBO in 2022.
Would you pay money to watch Mario Lemieux padded up with a hockey stick against David Benavidez over watching David Lemieux? Come on, tell me that isn't a fun fight.
Yes.
Go to boxingtonight.io. That's our home. You can click on any of the links, find out more. We actually have a news feed. We actually have all the up-to-date fights coming up. This weekend is Rolly Romero versus Gervonta Tank Davis on his Farewell Mayweather tour. So you might want to watch it. Probably the last time. I don't know how that's going to play out. Mayweather's already shifted to a new fighter as his new golden child. But whatever the case, go to boxingtonight.io. You can check out back episodes. We have exclusive video. That'll take you to our Facebook page. Follow Miguel at FightFiendMigs. Follow me at Lee Honish. Follow him at Andrew Labouche. Anything you'd like to add this week, Andrew?
No, I'll probably remember as soon as we hang up, then I'll start texting you guys everything we forgot.
No, absolutely. Miguel, anything you'd like to add for this week?
No, not really. We seem to be taking a break from some fights this weekend. I'm not sure if there are any fights this weekend. I think
Romero versus Tank.
Besides that one, I suppose.
And I do have breaking news.
Oh!
It's not breaking news. It's not breaking news, but it's something that needs to be discussed, at least as far as letting the fans know. Devin Haney's father was rejected a visa to enter Australia for the fight with Camboso. Devin Haney is now headed out there by himself. Could it affect him during the fight? It's possible. When you have your dad in your corner, when he's kind of his hype man, your whole career, he's the one pumping you up during training. He's walking you out during the fight. It's your father. He will not be there for the biggest fight of his young career. So
it's kind of the same with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury uses his dad for crazy statements, I feel.
And his dad has also hit the same roadblocks of not being allowed into the country because of a past criminal history. So, yeah, Tyson Fury has had to come to fights without his dad, too.
There you go. check us out, boxingtonight.io. We're here each and every week. We do our shows, we attempt, on Sunday mornings and try to get them out the same day. Go follow us on social media at fight.net.radio. Exclusive content. Andrew gets all the stories up to date for all of you. We appreciate all of you. We appreciate everybody that has jumped on board over the last few weeks. We have a rather large following at the moment, and we appreciate you. We really do. So we try to make the best content possible. And please click, like, subscribe, and just because Miguel will like this, tell your BFFs and smash the like button. God, I can't even believe I said that out loud. We'll see you next week.